describe. I have my mother's recollection as to what happened and where they came from. But what do you remember, Emma? Do you recall what cities they came from? Was it a city called Proversk or something like that?
Provorsk?
Was it in a?
Provorsk?
Kavla.
Kavla.
I had, Mom, you had always said Provorsk.
I always said it.
You're always wrong, I guess, right?
I don't know.
What city were they from?
Kavla, Grandma Fanny came from.
How would you spell that?
K-O-V-L-A.
And was that Russia or Poland?
Sikilia, Poland. At one time it was owned by Russia, one time it was owned by Poland. But when they came, it was Poland.
And that, who came from that city?
Kavla, Grandma Fanny came from, and Sikilia, Grandpa Eddie came from.
How far apart would those cities have been?
They didn't know each other there. It might have been the same county for all we know. It was Velina Gabania, which means a county.
Gabania means where you live.
Gabania was the county section, I imagine. And
I thought Grandpa was in the Russian army at one time.
yes, he was.
So,
The drummer.
so Russia had taken over.
That part of Poland, yes.
Right.
And then the Polish people got it back. So it was Poland originally, and Russia took that part.
It was a ping pong area.
It was, yes.
It was an area in the Ukraine that had been originally Poland, and then Russia annexed it. It was back to Poland, back to Russia, so it was a ping pong type of area.
What can you tell me about Grandpa Eddie and Grandma Fanny, about their stories about when they were growing up and when they were young? I have very faint recollections of being at Grandpa and Grandma's house on a Sunday, and Grandpa would talk about being a drummer boy, and Grandma, I guess when she was getting senile, would start reminiscing about being on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us some of those stories if you can.
Grandma's father, our grandfather,
You know what his name was?
Herschel.
The last name?
What was the
Schechter.
Yeah. He lost his wife, who was the mother of all his children.
Name him. I dare you.
What was Shama's father's
I don't
name?
remember his name.
Yanko.
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 Then Uncle
Tante-
Joe.
No, the next one was Tante Silva.
Zura. Then was Uncle Joe. He was the oldest of most of them.
And Uncle Gimple.
Uncle Gimple
Was
was
younger.
the
Then it must
was
be
one of the
Mama.
youngest.
Then Mama.
Mama.
Uncle Gimple.
Uncle Charlie, and
Mama.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Uncle Charlie.
Yeah.
8? 8
Did we
children?
say
Yeah,
eight?
there were, no, 7. There were 5 brothers and 2 sisters.
5. 7, yeah.
Okay, and this is Grandma Fanny's.
Yes, and
Her
their
brothers and
father was a miller. He had a flour mill on this farm, and they all more or less worked.
Put it back on. Back in.
Oh, I didn't know
And he made liquor for the,
He made liquor for the Guyam.
I guess, I don't know.
They
I
were
never
given
heard,
to the
I
land.
never heard that.
I remember
I don't know, where did she get all these stories? I don't make it up.
I
never heard
remember
that.
Mama saying that her father would go out and sell forests also. He would be away from the house during the week, and he would go and sell parcels of land, forest land.
He didn't own it, he sold it.
Well,
Maybe he sold it anyway.
Yeah, yes, I remember hearing that. Okay, and that her mother died at a very early age.
But she really took care of all of the boys.
And one important factor, she used to say all the time that she was so healthy she would run out in the snow in her bare feet.
That's Grandma Fanny.
Yeah.
Right, she was very, very
A very
healthy
strong,
individual.
healthy woman.
Okay. And what about
A
Grandpa
peasant.
Eddie? What was his family? His parents?
I don't know.
He never really spoke too much
No,
about
he
his
really
parents.
didn't.
He didn't.
Didn't you
Can
ever
name
ask
his,
him?
Yeah, we would ask, but I don't know much about his parents.
Why?
I think they died terribly early because I named for his mother, and my brother is their brother, his name was
The father.
his father.
Well, when Grandpa Eddie moved here, were his parents alive or?
I don't
were they
think
dead?
so.
No, they had
must
been
have
dead
died
a
at
long
an
time.
early age.
And he moved.
And his brothers
came here
and
alone.
sisters
Were
were
very
so
old.
much older than Grandpa
His-
Eddie.
His
Uncle
nep-
Mendel?
Wait a minute, he had a nephew who was his age.
Yeah.
Max Kaufman.
Max Calvin was Grandpa
Eddie's
Eddie's age,
age,
and he
so-
was a nephew.
So his oldest sister was old enough to practically to be his mother.
How many sisters and brothers did Grandpa Eddie have?
Uncle
Devilla?
Mendel?
No, start at the top. Tante Devilla,
Uncle
Uncle
Mendel.
Mendel.
Then Uncle Ahmed, then Tante Bissell, then Daddy, and then Bella.
Yeah, what about the one that I'm named
Oh,
after?
Charna.
Oh,
That
Charna.
Joseph Glick's
Yeah,
mother.
That's seven, yeah.
So there's seven brothers and sisters from
sisters,
Grandpa Eddie.
Right.
Also only two girls.
Three.
Oh, Charna, four. Charna, Bella.
Divided and
yeah,
Bissell.
Yeah.
Oh, there were 8.
And
So
you
four,
said-
four.
So Grandpa Eddie came over here when he was 19 or 20,
Yes.
and at that time his parents had passed away?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Because we were,
yeah.
And you
And-
never asked him about his parents, or you just don't remember? I find that very curious.
I don't remember. I'm
saying
sure
much.
we asked, because I know I used to sit and ask, I used to ask Mom about, and she used to tell us the way she carried her shoes when she went to town, and when she got near the town, she stopped and put her shoes on, so we used to talk to her about things
He
that went
really
on.
very rarely talked about his parents. He would talk about his...
No, maybe he was very young when they died, I don't know.
It's possible.
I really don't remember.
That's sort of a blank.
That's a
We'll
blank.
have to go on to another subject.
Yeah.
Okay? Except for our cousin Joseph Glick, who lives in Tel Aviv, and whose mother died at an early age. I'm named after his mother. Her name was Charna.
Mm.
And Joseph might have some more of a recollection of the family, because they were the only ones that remained in Europe. All the other sisters and brothers emigrated to the United States during the 1900s, the early 1900s.
Well, tell us about Grandpa and being a drummer boy in the Russian army. How did he get out of the army?
He served his term.
How long of a term?
2 years.
I think it's 2 years.
Yes. He was a drummer boy, but there was one general that was a drunk.
Well, only one general that was
Well,
left in the
that
Russian army?
particular, that particular general, and he wanted Grandpa to be his orderly. And for the purpose that he was dead drunk, and Grandpa Eddie had to get him out of the cafe every single night, throw him across his shoulder and
Yeah,
carry him
because
home.
he was built like
He was 6'2", he was tall, he was
a
built.
brick house.
And the general was a big man. He needed somebody big, and so he got Grandpa Eddie. So Grandpa Eddie ate a little better,
Yeah.
living in this general's house than some of the other soldiers. That's about all he ever mentioned about it. Because shortly after that, he must have come to America.
Yeah.
Then, when he came here, Grandma Fanny's cousins were here, the Schefters.
Come on, you can't absorb this.
No.
Yeah.
Why not? This is
Well,
it's
that
why-
was how
a very
You
important
get
part.
this.
This
Good.
was very important. So when Grandma came here, she lived in the house of one of the Schefters,
They were her first cousin.
her first cousins. Now, one of the first cousins was Rosie Kaufman, who was a Schefter, married to a Kaufman. So immediately she set about getting a shidduch for
Right.
Grandma. Her husband had a brother, and that brother was married to Grandpa Eddie's sister. So she felt, why not get someone from that family to marry her relative? So she made the shidduch between Grandma Fanny and Grandpa Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
I had asked my mother this question. I'm curious to see what Aunt Molly and Aunt Charlotte have to say about it. In this time, when we're going back to 1910, 1912, I would have thought that there would have been many marriages of convenience, and when shidduchs were made, that they were made because it was economically feasible. And I asked my mother, does she know if they were really in love, or was it more a matter of you would meet somebody and it was and a shidduch was made and it was a matchmaker type of deal and it was more convenient? What's your reaction to that?
I don't believe it was a convenience. It was an introduction, and I think they liked each other right away. What do you think? And
Yeah,
that
I
was
remember
it.
Mama used to say, why don't you tell me that you love me? The papa would say, love? What is love?
Well, I
But
said,
they cared for each other,
Yeah,
really.
but
They really did
I
care for
said-
each other.
Your mother would never marry anybody she really didn't like.
no,
and love.
right,
No
no,
way.
no,
That was my
She
reaction.
was she was born before her time. She really would have been in
She'd
the
be in the
ERA, and
Yeah.
now, right now.
Really?
Oh,
I'm
she
sure.
was. I recall
Oh, yeah.
one of Grandpa's sisters was in very dire straits. I don't know which one. Must have been the one in Europe. And I remember Grandma talking to Grandpa's family and saying, well, let's run a theater party.
Yeah, we gotta
Let's
send the
do
money.
something. We gotta send the money. We have to take care of
have
them.
to
And
take them.
it's depression. We don't have the money. Let's do something to raise some money. And she tried.
Incidentally, our father helped almost every, it almost sounds funny, helped almost every relative that came over afterwards, took an awful lot of them into the business when they were really bad, and an awful lot of uncles worked for him or he set them up in business. If they could, they paid him back. If they couldn't,
Well,
he
they
forgot it.
didn't.
He just forgot about
He
it.
had relatives. He loaned
just,
money.
He kept lending them money, and he was extremely helpful to all the relatives, all the family. It was a lot of family on both sides, don't forget. So when it came to money and helping anybody out, he always, I remember that, did you know that he helped Alaska's husband, Benny?
Oh, yes,
He helped
yes.
him. That was
Uncle
the second time.
Mendel.
Uncle Mendel, he took into the business
And
so many. He
Wolfie.
put
Wolfie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They tried either way.
He was very generous.
I don't know who has that picture when Grandpa came with all his relatives.
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
precious picture.
yeah.
Grandpa Eddie,
A.B. Garber.
A.B. Guyber, Max Edelstein,
Max Edelstein.
Uncle Penny Edelstein.
Right.
And there was one we never knew who he was.
Oh,
on
yes,
that
yes,
picture.
yes. I know who it was. It was, that very handsome man from the Kaufman family who had the 3 daughters.
I said Max Edelstein.
Oh, that's Max Edelstein, okay.
No,
Max
there was one in the
Edelstein,
picture.
A.B. Guyber. There were 6
No,
men.
There
Yeah.
was six.
It was,
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was the Max
Max
Kaufman?
Kaufman, right.
Max Kaufman,
I have
makes
that
you
picture.
sick.
As a matter of fact, I just found it the other day.
I was looking for
Yeah.
that picture,
Yeah.
Charlotte.
You gave it to me. Yes.
In your